I think that people may have noticed, because I've gotten some direct feedback about it, that the way that I teach is different from the systems of learning we were brought up in. Yeah, and there's a couple of important things about that. I'm actually intentionally creating a new culture with you, and that culture has very little to do with hierarchy. Right? So there's a whole, in Module 4, I wrote a piece for you called Constellational Thinking and Rhizomatic Intimacy. And it also has a link to Joy Brooke Fairfield's talk about polytheory, because constellational thinking and rhizomatic networks are new ways to think and new ways to connect and a new model. Because we were all brought up with a very authoritarian, hierarchical, what I call the Uber culture, what some people call neoliberal culture, where there's a clear, this person's on the top, it's a pyramid, it follows a tree shape, an arboreal. We see it in the chain of command at a company, and we see it in a genealogy tree, a family tree, where there's a person at the top, and then the power clearly goes down in lines. That is old school. That's not what we're doing. We're going to create together an open source, rhizomatic form of intimacy. This is my specialty. Each of you has areas of your skill and your expertise. But as a group, we've agreed to come here to learn this stuff together. And in order for there to be less hierarchy, each of us have to take a little more responsibility about the whole group, thinking well about the whole group. The other piece of it is I'm going to be an authentic person. It's part of what I'm role modeling. Because what we were brought up in teaches us that feelings are not appropriate and that we're supposed to be perfect. It's a looksist, very classist, very flat, Protestant appearance, the culture of appearances, where we have social masks and appropriate behavior. But I am going to make mistakes. I am going to be nervous and anxious. I'm going to give myself permission to have all of my feelings. Why? Because this is a course about feelings and about liberating your feelings. So I want you to notice in yourselves, when are you triggered? And I want to keep telling you that I deeply believe in your capacity to be with any experience that's presenting itself in your life. We're going to uncover, recover, reestablish our ability to be with whatever happens, because we need that. I'm very pragmatic. We are going to need each other. We are going to need to be able to be with each other when we are deeply distressed and not take it personally and do what has to get done to feed and clothe and shelter and respond to emergencies. We're going to have to be able to do that. And we can't do that if somebody needs a Band-Aid and you're like, don't make me go get the Band-Aid. Who said I have to get the Band-Aid? All those kinds of reactive things that have been happening in our little groups, okay? Thank you very much for listening. Now let's breathe together. Take a breath. All right. Today all the ecosomatics have something to do with scanning or networking. So as you begin to settle into your body, sit in a way that your spine can be erect, your feet are on the floor, your arms are not crossed, your feet are not crossed. Just kind of settle into your felt experience, into your body, as if it were, your favorite easy chair, your best place to sit ever. And notice your breathing. Realize again that you can expand your lungs in at least 3 directions: the front, the back, the side. Expand and contract. Notice that. Notice that. See how much air you can get into your lungs. And see how much you can exhale as well. So breathing deeply, bringing your consciousness into your center, back from wherever else it might have been, down and back, bringing your consciousness into your body and your felt experience. And I want you to begin today with your toes, your big toes. We're going to scan your body and see what's going on in it. So start with whatever sensations you're experiencing in your big toes. And really, just go into your big toe. Notice what it's feeling. What sensations? How does it feel in your sock? How does it feel if you have shoes on in your shoe? How does it rest on the floor? And just take a breath in. Notice if there's anything you're holding. And exhale and let it go. And tell your toe that it's okay to relax. Notice the rest of your toes, all 4 little toes. Wiggle them a little. What are they feeling? What is their experience? Yeah, breathe into those toes. Breathe into those toes. And exhale. Let go of any holding that's there, anything that you notice. And then go to the ball of your foot and the arch of your foot and feel them really. Bring your attention and your awareness into the ball and the arch of your foot. Notice if there's any holding there. Breathe in. Notice the holding. Exhale and let that go. Move up then into your calves and your shins. And notice what the experience, those parts, what are they experiencing, those parts of your body? What's their lived experience? Breathe in. Notice any holding that's happening. Exhale and release. Move up to your knees and all the tiny little ligaments, your kneecap. See what's going on with your knees. And now we're going to also begin to smile a little bit and just have a general, friendly, curious, open interest in these parts of our body. How are your knees? Inhale, notice their experience and any holding that's there. Exhale. I'm going to have to do the knees twice, I think. And let go. Breathe in again. Maybe bring a little warmth. My knees need a little warmth and a little kindness. Exhale and release. Continue up into your thighs. All the sides of your thighs. The front, the back, the sides, every part of your thigh. From your knee all the way up to your ball and socket, your hip joint. What's happening in your thighs? How do they feel? Are they warm or cold? Are they comfortable or irritated? Just really notice. Give them your full aware attention. Thank them. Give them a little bit of gratitude. Breathe in. Sense of gratitude. Exhale and release anything that's holding there. Anything that's holding there. Just let it go. Now we can get a little more active with our breath, and as we continue to scan the body, we can use the breath to release and let go or make noise to help us clear anything that we want to clear. Go into your pelvic floor, your buttocks, your perineum. Notice whatever's there, your hips. Slowly greeting, giving yourself a sense of gratitude, being friendly and loving towards your body. Notice if that's a new thing or if it's something familiar. Breathe in and hold Maybe tighten everything slightly. Exhale and release. And move now to your belly and your intestines. What is the visceral feeling? What's your proprioceptive sense? What is your felt sense of your belly and your intestines, your guts? What's your gut sense? What is your gut telling you? Let's just hang out here for a few breaths, noticing any comfort or discomfort, any tautness, any looseness. Just notice what's there. And smile at your guts. Smile at your intestines and your belly. Give them a great big inhale and exhale. Moving up now, let's just nod at all of our internal organs. Our heart and our liver, our gallbladders and our spleen, our stomachs, our wombs, our ovaries, all those beautiful machines and cells that work without our conscious awareness. Let's just send them all a great big warm smile, a sense of gratitude and friendliness. Thank you. Thank you. Breathe in and hold any tension that's there. Exhale and release. And move up now to your chest, your lungs, and your heart. Feel that sensation of air coming in and filling your lungs, and see if that's tight or easy. Hold as you inhale. Exhale and just let that go. Let that release. Thank you, heart, for beating. Let's go up our backs now, starting at our lower back. You can wiggle and rock if you need to do that, if you notice there's any tightness. Move around a little bit. Again, grateful. So grateful that our back is functioning at all. How wonderful. Thank you, back. Breathe in and hold anything that's tight. Exhale and release. To your mid-back and your upper back, do the same things. Ready? Just say hi. Wiggle a little. Notice it. Bring your full aware attention to this beautiful part of you. And let's just be friendly and grateful some more, okay? Let's try your right shoulder, your left shoulder. Maybe rotate your shoulders a little bit. Just say hi. Move your neck back and forth and notice how they're connected. Hello, beautiful neck. Hello, wonderful shoulders, rotator cuffs, everything functioning. Breathe in and hold. Any tension, exhale. Release. Your upper chest, your throat, the rest of your neck. Just notice that. Hello, neck. Hello, throat. Hello, upper chest. Clavicle. Isn't the words are so beautiful? Breathe in and hold any tension that you notice there. And exhale. Release. Okay. And then let's just do our entire arms, both of our arms, all the way from the shoulder to the wrist, on the left, on the right. What a miracle. All the power that flows down our arms and out our hands. Say hello, be grateful. Hi, arms. Thanks for letting me move things around. Hold as you inhale. Any tension there? Exhale and release. And now your beautiful hands Mark and I are always making jokes about our opposable thumbs and the cats wanting to have them. Notice the miracle of that. Your fingers, how flexible, how capable, how competent, all the things they allow you to do. Just send your hands a little mental kiss, sense of gratitude. Wiggle them or crack them if they have any tightness. Breathing in, hold, exhale, and release. Let's do our heads. We'll start with our jaw. You feel your jaw? Ah. Hi, jaw. Thanks for letting me eat things. Good thing. Any tightness in your jaw? Just notice it. Send it gratitude. Be friendly. Thank you, beautiful body. And then wiggle your face, your nose, your mouth. See if you can wiggle your ears. Just notice all these parts of yourself. Express gratitude. Exhale, letting go of any tension that's there. And then your head, your scalp, your skull. Just notice anything there that needs release. Nod. Acknowledge these beautiful parts of your functioning self. Okay, now that we've scanned our entire body, we're going to do a little reclaiming of your space. Keep the connection with the sense of being grounded. Having scanned every part of you, we're going to start at the crown of our head, at the very top of our head. And imagine either a golden sun, like we did before, or a beautiful radiant light. The important thing is that some wonderful source of light and love is present to you right above your body, and just gently pressing, not uncomfortably, gently pressing, sitting atop your head. It could look like a crown or an aura or a golden egg, whatever works for you. But let this radiant light and this sense of, for me, like a liquid honey, begin to slide, pour through every cell in your body. And as it does so, own these pieces of your body. So own every part of your skull and your face. Reclaim it by consciously inhabiting it. Be completely in your body. This is your head. This is your body. Own it. And as you own it, realize that there's simply no room in it for anyone else's programming or thoughts, anything that came from outside of you. There's simply no room for it because there's so much golden light and such a beautiful, thick and slow sensation of ownership and presence, being present. And it continues to slide down now, going throughout your jaw, below your throat, your upper chest, just slowly, a few inches at a time with every breath, permeating every part of you. And as it goes, this light, this sense of presence and ownership, as it goes, it moves out any programming and anything that came from anyone that wasn't yours. Anything someone threw at you, thoughts or ideas or programming that didn't generate from you. There's simply no room for it. Go now through your heart chakra, down through your abdomen. Feel this sense of ownership and presence, clearing out everything else, completely reclaiming your space. Move now again further down, all the way through your pelvis, moving down your legs. Beautiful golden light, beautiful thick sense of presence, palpable self-worth, removing everyone else's programming so that you completely reclaim the space that is all of your body. And let's let it move down now through the last part of your legs, your knees, your calves, and out your feet, and go back into the earth below you. So this is scanning the body and then reclaiming your space and clearing out what does not serve. Then if your eyes are closed, you can open them gently. Just come back into the space in the room. I think you can start to see that all of these visualizations, you can easily adapt or change to suit you. They're written up in the module. Make up a color or an image or an object or an element that works best for you. But if you start to ground every day and then slowly add one or two of these other pieces based on what you self-assess you need, you will have a much stronger sense of presence. You'll probably get sick less. People won't be able to throw ideas at you that get stuck in your energy field, things like that. How are you doing in Seattle? Okay, we're going to do a little opening here. Michael Sanborn has an opening for us.
Could you use this to light the other candle?
Ah.
And this is a hermetic prayer, so the god here would be considered to be whatever the supreme Egyptian god would have been at the time, Ptah or Tum or Ra or Aten or Atum. I invoke thee, O God, the living one, who dost show forth thy splendor in the fire, thou unseen Father of the light. Pour forth thy strength, awake thy daimon, and come down into this fire. Inspire it with thy Holy Spirit. Show me thy might, and let the house of the Almighty God, which is within this light, be opened for me. Let there be light, thy breadth, depth, length, height, ray, and let the Lord, the God within, shine forth.
That's beautiful. So motivating. Right. Simon, say hello and how you are.
Hello.
Hi there.
I'm good. I just slept all day. And I just got back from the Big Island.
I'm TERI. I feel really pleased that we're not having the techno nightmare we had last time. And so I'm very happy with that.
I'm Jordan, and I'm glad to be at the White Oak Retreat Center on this summer solstice with the Living Love Revolution's HB Cascadia Holistic Peer Counseling course. Glad to be here, thank you.
I'm Comrade Daniel. I perform miracles with nothing every day.
Nice.
I'm Brina, and I feel great today. Had some coffee. And so I feel like in great spirits, and the whole week's really been good and adventurous, and standing out biggest today, moving at the end of April. So really excited about that.
Wonderful.
Hi, TERI, and it's good to be here. I feel real good to be in good company.
I'm Michael, and it's a good night for me. Last night I taught a class, which is always enjoyable.
Awesome.
And so now taking it easy and just looking forward to the rest of tonight and the whole next month. So it's a good thing.
Awesome.
Well, I'm Mark, and I'm glad that things have gone relatively smoothly tonight. It's been a very full week, and this weekend will be full too, but I'm looking forward to it. So, yay us.
So I'm wondering if the people in video land, if any of you would like to report back. We're not going to be able to talk to everyone. This is going to happen every time. But who think that he did that was very helpful for you?
I like that he didn't try to intervene in what I was saying.
Sweet. Isn't that sweet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. How were you effective as a counselor or listener this week?
I felt like I did a good job setting the space.
Mm-hmm.
I like lighting a candle, doing a little ritual. And
Sweet.
it's a good spot in the house, secluded and comfortable. And I could be better, I think, in the same category, actually, because the second week in a row, I've wanted to counsel about things that are... So I was in the same place as I was last week. It kind of happened right before the session that I knew I needed to share, and so I just learned that either don't counsel at all about that particular thing, which was really hard. It made me feel irritable because of that, or we'll go somewhere else, and it didn't seem like going somewhere else was just make the decision. I realized it would be way better for both of us.
Can I make a suggestion to you?
Yeah.
What you saw me do last week when I modeled, when I just made noise. That works really well.
Yeah.
Then you don't mention any names, you don't.
And so I felt like TERI was a great listener, and yeah, she was a great listener. I just felt like he was right present with me.
Awesome. TERI, how was it for you?
Good.
Is there anything you could have done better to be a better listener or a better counselor?
I think I could always have better attention, but I feel like I had good constant attention, and I, for the most part, had good loving attention. So that's always can grow in intensity. So, but I felt it was pretty good. Let's see what was in.
The next one is, how will you be a more effective counselor in your next session?
Well, just like even more grounded, better able to hold attention and focus. Yeah, just more practice.
Awesome.
And certainly like more skill. It's like all I'm doing is not talking. And
That's
it's
great, though, isn't it?
I know that's.
Isn't it amazing how effective it
part
is?
of it.
It's like actually more effective than saying things after people talk every time.
Right. So,
Yeah.
And I felt Brenda gave me really good attention.
Good.
And I can't think of anything to make it any better or anything like that. The environment was also really
Okay, cool.
It's a quiet, clear,
Good.
very clear and quiet space.
Thank you. Jordan, you and I counseled this morning.
Yes.
How did that go for you?
It went good. The setting was good. It was comfortable. There was no interruptions as far as doing anything better. I can't find any area that needs improvement.
Okay, well, I really appreciated that I said, say this, and you said it right away. And so you took really good direction from me as the client. You did exactly what I asked you to do, and you did it immediately. There wasn't any hesitation. You weren't like, well, is that right or not? And so that was a very deep, restorative session for me. And, just laying down and sleeping, and that was very helpful for me to be held and seen in exactly the way I requested to be held and seen. Thank you. And, laying in my room is a great environment for me to counsel in, so I love that. Hey, we're going to do some counseling techniques. How about that? There's something I want to be really clear about. It's very important that we that we treat demonstrations in class as if they are confidential counseling sessions, right? So just like I wouldn't now say, when Jordan, if we went into town and had tea tomorrow, I wouldn't start going, hey, wow, in your session when you blah, 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 blah. Because what that's going to do is re-stimulate Jordan and take him back to the space that he was in that counseling session, right? So the same thing is true about demos and stuff. If someone's talking about material, even if you have a very compelling personal interest, like they have exactly the same pattern with their dad that you have, or you work in the same place, or there's something going on and their distress brought something up for you, you do not bring that up to them. And if you are going to bring it up because you're curious or interested, you would say, can I have permission to talk to you about? Right? So it's how we handle confidentiality. The second thing that's just very, very important to me, because it has a lot to do with how groups function. Do not, in your counseling sessions, complain about the other people in this course. Right? We have a lot of mixed relationships. Some of us work together, some of us live together, some of us are in relationship with each other. Right? You can counsel about it by making noise and not telling a narrative story, which I've modeled to you and we talked about already today. And you can create a peer counseling situation for yourself with your friends outside of the class. Especially if you are really, really charged up about something, you want to handle it before you come to class. But it is absolutely not appropriate to say in the middle of your session, I'm going to talk about the other people in class that are bothering me, and client on them, especially if the other person says they don't want to do that. That is not curious, open, accepting, and loving, and it's not what we're doing. So there's a whole sheet of beginning techniques. It's in Module 4. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, Jordan, will you stand up here with me? Is we're going to just hold your hand. We're going to stand here so he can see us too. And I'm going to say, the first thing we always do is be friendly. We'll say, hi, Jordan.
Hi, Terry.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Awesome, really good.
That's great.
Do you want to tell me some kind of new and good that's happened to you today?
Well, yeah, I'd love to.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email from one of my friends who I'm doing a mushroom workshop with, but that gives me more time to do my book
Awesome.
that I've been planning to do. So that was kind of a relief. It gave me an extra possibly 10 or 15 days.
Phew!
Yeah.
I'll tell you, all of these are kind of scanning techniques when you're just doing light counseling, and these are all beginner techniques, and they're interchangeable. It's just so that you have a wide variety of tools to work from. Little upsets. So are there any small things that are bothering you, Jordan? Usually for me it's like traffic or I didn't get mail, something like that. Tell me a subject that you want to work on.
Accountability.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Okay, so when's the earliest time you can remember having an issue with accountability? The very first time?
I don't know, maybe small kid, 6 or 7 or so.
Mm-hmm. And so if accountability was a line that goes from here back until when you were 6 years old, and you could just skip forward on the line to everything that you think of right away when you think of accountability, you're 6, and then when was the next time? And notice that your breathing is there. When you're going forward and you're thinking about these different incidents, do you feel like there's material there that you could go more deeply into?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to counsel you for 5 minutes on that issue. Does that work?
Sure.
Okay. Will you time that for me? Thank you. So we're using scanning to find a place that's lit up where there's a trigger, and then we're going to go just lightly for 5 minutes into accountability when Jordan was 14. Yeah? And how did that feel in your body, the getting away with? Any particular sensation anywhere?
Felt like kind of like a coldness.
Where?
Just like overwhelming coldness. It like emanates from the heart and goes throughout the body.
And is that like a contraction or an expansion, or is it wiggly, or is it solid? Can you use your hand and show me what it felt like?
It just felt like it was like just emanating throughout.
Emanating throughout.
Yeah.
Cold,
Thick.
And what would be the opposite of that?
Fluid.
Okay, so right now I'm noticing also that you
Warm.
stopped moving.
Right.
You're also squeezing my hand so hard that it hurts, so I'm gonna
Okay.
wiggle my
Sorry
hand.
about
No, I'm noticing. So that's telling me something in you is contracting,
Okay.
right? So what I want you to do is make up a motion that is the opposite of thick and cold.
Okay.
What would that look like?
It would be thin and wispy and warm.
Okay.
Like movement.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Do that. Whoa.
Yeah.
Thin and wispy and warm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say accountability. And when I say that word, I want you to make the thin and wispy warm dance.
Okay.
Accountability. Accountability.
Oh, ooh, that feels good.
Accountability.
Yeah, that feels better.
Okay, cool. I want to stop there and explain what I just did, or ask people to notice what I just did. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, so what? How many lights do you see in the room?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lights.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Awesome.
Oh.
Will you sit down here? Thank you so much.
He's a mushroom guy.
Now, what I did was use a light technique, right? But the scanning, and then I went into, I'm showing you that they're very simple if you stay with the physical things, yeah? So what did you see me do in that demo?
Shift his personal reality.
Shifted his personal reality, okay.
I think you helped frame and name what the feeling was to give it a solidity awareness in his body so he could handle it better.
Bring focus on it.
Putting a focus on it.
I saw you creating balanced opposites.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And you were also getting him to experiencing it in his body.
That is really the most important thing about this work and why we focus on ecosomatics. And like, you want to actually get what your felt experience was at that time, because the experience of being re-triggered is that felt experience resurfaces and you're captured by it. You're in some kind of PTSD by it. And you want to be able to give it the attention that it needs to unwind and become integrated. And did you see how his energy changed from the beginning to the end?
Yeah.
It's
Also, especially when you had him start to loosen up, when you had him apply the reversal,
Yeah.
essentially.
the more movement that occurs, the faster it is. Because we trap things by fixing them, literally, in rigid patterns. And we hold on to, right?
Yeah, I saw it as a door. You gave him a door out of what he was physically feeling,
Right.
so he could exit the state.
And come into the present moment. Yeah. Okay, we can have a discussion about that. We have a few minutes for that. Does anybody else want to say anything about that?
I've got a question.
Yes.
Would that kind of a session be maybe either longer, basically? Are they normally like
It
5
could
minutes?
be.
5 minutes seem like kind of short for that kind of thing, or of a trauma that could be of a a big size like that.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like it was like boom, 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 boom.
Yep.
I don't know, and maybe if it works for him, great. But
Well, I'm
sensing into that.
I'm just doing demos in the class.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Is
Yeah,
this
so
generally
it's
something
not-
that's
it's
a half
not-
hour or
Yeah, I could chase that. We could chase that around and go up and down the line that he was scanning. And we could, probably the most effective thing would be to go back to the earliest memory, when that's before it snowballed, before the distress snowballed. What was the originating? So if it's like a big ball of yarn, you want to go into the center of it and find the beginning thread and pull it out. And then it goes. But you can actually resolve some pretty major trauma in just 5 minutes if you're really engaged, if you're really there with them. Because it only took 5 minutes for that trauma to instill itself in you. And time, well, we're pretty much making time up. We have a lot of narrative and a lot of illusions that we're collectively generating as a culture around time.
yeah.
And I have no objection. I could work for a whole hour on that, and we could get all kinds of stuff unwound. It's just kind of a way to show you how quickly you can get to deep material and work on it.
Yeah, I guess I'm excited to hear how to get better skills in knowing what that very first triggering was, or what the inside ball thread,
Yeah.
rather than, and then so once that happened, then there's the trigger,
Yeah.
trigger.
And that's why we go with the felt experience of it too. because the narrative is the secondary meaning that we've made up around the originating incident. The originating incident, the thing that happened, is still, if it was traumatic, it's still in our somatic experience. Because anything that didn't get integrated is part of our body experience, still running now, until it gets unwound and integrated. It's in our nervous system at some level, which is why we have so little attention, because there are so many things activated and running like a refrigerator in the background. That's really actually exhausting. Yeah. It's exhausting. And we can't be fully present because of it. You know, so.
I was wondering, is it always providing a balanced opposite to help heal that, or are there other techniques?
Yeah, there are, in your module 4, there are about 20 different techniques outlined for you in the two, one's called beginner techniques and the other's called intermediate techniques. And every class now we're going to do at least one demo of a technique. The thing is to have many different techniques, like you get a balance of attention internally and you start to know your own material well enough to start in telling your friends and peers, will you say these things because I'm in a trance, and if you say these things I'll be restored to my native intelligence. You know, because they're things that we heard over and over again. They're pretty hard. So there is no, like there isn't a form of emotional release that's superior to another. Laughing, crying, grieving, raging, they're all equal in their ability to help you reemerge. There's also no technique that is better, except this, I would say, because of the imbalance of our Uber culture, it's always better to move into the physical sensations and the felt experience. That is much better than coaching someone or you telling them a story. It's actually better for you to be mostly silent and help them find their felt experience.
Is there time for another question?
There is.
Okay.
And thank you for your questions. And they give me a chance to explain things. Yeah.
I'm curious, with all these techniques that we're going to be learning, is there suggestions as to which one's going to be right for that particular session, or do you use your intuition? You know, I mean, like,
you use your intuition, and also hopefully everyone will read those, and there might be some that you are like, hey, let's try out a few of these, and it's great for it to be playful, right? Okay, today we're going to do, right, like for example, this week I suggest that you try a scanning technique or any of the other beginning techniques that are in the beginning document. Don't do the intermediate ones yet. You might already have done it. It's okay. And again, these are guidelines. I'm not going to police your sessions. You might have a natural aptitude. I trust the process, especially with, you know, when I do the demos, we're not doing the full session frame where we're breathing and attuning and grounding first, but I want you to do that in your sessions, right? If you do that in your sessions, you've created enough safety that things, hopefully, you're attuned and there's resonance. Things will spontaneously arise in the field between the two of you. And after a while, you get this synchronous, you'll know, oh, we're going to work on this. Oh, I feel this. What do you see? And the combination of who the two of you are will bring up the right things to work on. Also, after a while, as a client, you start to go, I am going to work on my birth trauma. You know, and I'm going to do the next 10 sessions I do are going to be an hour long, and they're all going to be about my birth trauma until I clear it. You know, so almost everything that you're experiencing as an adult that's like this visceral, deep upset is a trauma that you can clear. There's no reason for you to suffer and be in pain like that, ever. All right, I think we might be done with the demo. How do you think? Any other questions there?
I do have one other question. You said all emotions are, and you didn't say equivalent. You said they're all...
No, they're equally valuable. And what I mean is all emotional expressions. So, if you remember in the introductory class, we talked about anger is released through loud sounds. large, talking really loud, and big movement. That kind of catharsis is very useful. Crying to release grief is also useful. Laughing to release embarrassment and shame is also useful. So one of the things that I'm watching for as the counselor, how do I know if my technique is being effective, Brina, is there some kind of emotional catharsis going on? If there is, great. Stop and pause until they stop having that active feeling state. It kind of bleeds it out, do you know? And then try another technique. And just keep doing different techniques. Now, if the thing that you're using is working, just stay with it. If the other person is in a state of catharsis, good job. If they're not, try to find a different technique. And for right now, just being eye contact and friendly and physically close, that's enough to start shaking or trembling or a feeling state to occur most of the time when you're first meeting people. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's time for a resource share. And over here, the person that was going to do the resource share is Sam, but she's not here today. But fortunately, I am a woman of many resources, so I offer you today Coming Back to Life by Joanna Macy. How many people are familiar? Raise your hand with Joanna Macy's work. Okay, so this book was written in 1998, and it's called Coming Back to Life, Practices to Reconnect Our Lives and Our World. I can't actually say enough to praise Joanna Macy. She's a deep ecologist. She's a Buddhist. She's a spiritual teacher. She's an activist. She's one of the people who's a role model for my life. And we're actually using her model, The Work That Reconnects, which has a 4-part model for how to heal ourselves and move from despair and disempowerment into coming back to life, into activism and engagement. Is the first model that you always start everything with gratitude. And there are a lot of gratitude exercises in this book. And there are also, the second phase is honoring our pain in the world, actually talking about our pain and our trauma and not jumping over it. Seeing with new eyes, because what happens when you actually enter and express your trauma and honor it is that things move.
And going forth.
Going forth is the last one.
So we're going to start with a small movement of some kind that I'm going to pass along to the next person, and that person can pass it along. They can change it and pass along. We're just going to pass a movement along that we're going to imitate from the person in front of us.
Okay, great.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So to Jessa, I'm going to say, there. Comes.
Oh, you're moving it?
No, just do it.
Do it. Did you see it? Christina, did you do it?
No, yeah, Christina's doing it.
Bridget,
Go left. All right.
Your turn, George.
Arizona, we did it!
Thanks.
Yay!
Thank you for doing
Okay, now everybody watch Bruce do it.
I did it already.
Okay.
Okay.
And now we're going to watch a video called
Oh, yeah.
The Power of Networks. And everybody in TV land. And what does that mean to you?
It's like busting that paradigm of like the way we're raised and the way our social networks are is really different than the way nature is.
Yeah.
We're trying to bust out of that, and I think it's a really powerful piece is that is looking at how important relationships are, how important the small encounters are. There's lots of stuff. I mean, help widen our eyes and views about things. So.
Right.
And what was it, the 3 ages of science that they
Yeah.
showed on there?
Uh-huh.
So in each of those ages of science is where our is where our rationale and our decision-making abilities were rooted in.
Right.
So we couldn't, in the 19th century, it was really hard to be an environmentalist, yet there were rabid environmentalists. There was Whitman, there was Emerson, there was Thoreau. But the structure of civilization was, it couldn't entertain that. It couldn't entertain that constellational thinking, that whole systems thinking.
And one of the things that is true about some of the relationships I have in this room. So both Bridget and Jordan were at the radical mycology convergence. And were you there, Perry?
This is all part of that.
Right.
It's all connected there.
So what, did anybody get a chance to look at the Paul Stamets video that's now in the resources section? 6 ways mushrooms can save the planet. Did anybody get to see that? It's there. I encourage you to watch it. One of the most spectacular things for me is that Paul Stamets reaches the same conclusion about the structure of matter. Basically, he's saying that the morphic field of galaxies and dark matter is similar to the neural image of the mushrooms. And then this man, who's also a scientist, came to the same conclusion. And then, has anybody seen Neil deGrasse Tyson, The New Cosmos?
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. It's so eco-sexy. I am not kidding. It's so hot. He's like talking about evolution, but and the structure of stars. And you go from our galaxy, from our solar system to our galaxy to the multiverse. And again, you see these interconnected threads. And we know that mushrooms are mycelium. Mushrooms are the fruiting bodies of mycelium. And they hold the structure of soil together. They make soil fertile. Without the mycelium, we wouldn't have enough nutrients in the soil to be able to have it grow food for us. So mycelium are very important. This is Cascadia Holistic Peer Counseling. And the largest known organism on the planet is taking up 2/3 of the state of Oregon. It's a mycelial mat that's 1 cell wall thick that's been there for thousands of years.
So that would be our intercellular network.
Yeah, our intercellular network. What I'm suggesting, and what I think the planet is trying to tell us, and the cosmos is trying to tell us, is that if we want to have a higher possibility of surviving and evolving, we need to contemplate the structures of the natural world and imitate them more than we've been imitating the structures that were handed to us that are patriarchal and arboreal and chain of command and power over. And I really actually think that our relationships and the structures for our relationships, you can read the Poly Theory, Making Meaning and Rhizomatic Intimacy article that's loaded into your Module 4 to look really big. She uses the whole term constellational thinking, was the first time I heard it, was in that article. And we also need to be actively integrating our brain, right? Using the definitions like that we got from Dan Siegel of what the brain and what the mind are. And seeing that emotions actually do belong everywhere. Like there's no place to keep them that's separate from the whole on that we are. So we need to actually learn how to be expressive emotionally and how to integrate our thinking with our feeling and get rid of the illusion of the neck separating the intelligent part of us from the debased part of us. Because we've moved from the era of modernity, which invented dualism, right? He did have, next to that arboreal tree, Deleuze, into the era of the postmodern era. We're in a new paradigm, a new frame, where everything has, matter and light. They're switching back and forth constantly. It's not a known static thing. We're in an era where mystery and the unfathomable is in the center of everything. That we're a vortex. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking.
You've
What other people think?
spoken about trauma as an unresolved emotional state that's constricted, that's locked in place. And the way around that is to build new neural networks that can release that somatic experience so that it can be reintegrated.
Right.
That's what that video reminded me of.
Yes.
What you've been talking about.
Great.
Like core concept.
You got that. That's great. Because if we're not thinking, oh, I can hold this here, and if I hold it here, it'll go away. I won't have to think about it, right? But it's not. There is no hidden, unseen. There really aren't any secrets. Like our traumas are visible in our body language. In our little, and we'll talk about this next class when we talk about flags, the 5 flags. There's somatic. There's breath patterns that are releasing our distress. There's postures that are releasing our distress. There's the way we go, huh? You know, there's little things that we do that are habits that are all emotional expression. Compartmentalization and the idea that the ego is separate, that we're separate individuals, all of that is a culturally constructed chronic pattern that is a lie that exists so that capitalism and other things can function. And we, I think, have an obligation to emerge from our emotional trauma and destroy that and find new ways to live that are much more fluid and playful and vibrant and emotive and expressive and free. We can do that, or we can go down with the ship. That's kind of, there's probably 15 other possibilities. I'm making a dualistic framework for drama. Tammy?
Oh, my question was just, when you're talking about emotional traumas and being released and stuff, as we're doing this and we start to go, out and do more active, one of those things that we're going to notice is people start having those little tweaks and stuff, and they don't realize it, and they're starting to release. We bury things. So what about, when they run into somebody that didn't know they had something buried,
well, we do that all the time, don't we, Tammy? But the body remembers everything. The body remembers everything. And if we learn these skills and can be more facile in being present for each other and changing different modes of social relationship, and everywhere we go, there'll be somebody that can be like, oh, you need attention. There might be enough people in the network that we can all get our needs for attention met in any one time. Right now, are you aware that there are 27 other people that are available to you through this class for a mini? 27 other people. So if you need a 10-minute mini sometime this week, I want you to go to the contact list and start calling people, right? So you'll have your hour session where you each get half an hour and do a 10-minute phone mini with somebody.
And I'm like, there's a shift happening. It kind of just validates, even within like the mainstream, like I have a 9-to-5 job, this stuff is sort of happening in that place too.
In the technology world, that is actually also been becoming more prevalent over the last 10 to 15 years, that organizations are less strictly hierarchical and more kind of, I know there's talk about matrices and things like that, where individuals bring certain skills and they network in the ways they need to.
Well, they're more efficient.
Right.
They're more efficient. They're more organic. Sharing information makes things take less time. It's less expensive. It's more sustainable.
Well, and
It's a
just
better
the
usage of
very
resources,
invention
too.
of the internet and the invention of social networking is evidence that we are moving into this paradigm.
Moss, one of the reasons is that now we have a way to view the entire world and what's happening everywhere. See, before they could hide and obscure the amount of rebellion. They could just squelch it and say that never happened. But now, we've got our phones and we're like, hey, I saw that. Hey, look what I saw. And nobody can control the distribution of that energy and information as it flows through us, and we can see that we really are deeply connected to each other. And how do you guys feel about a rhizomatic structure? Can you resonate with that? Because remember from Dan Siegel, if we see a visual structure or something, it makes it more possible for us to use it. So knowing that your nervous system has a rhizomatic structure and your brain has a rhizomatic structure, just think about what that might be used for or why it might be relevant. Okay? We're going to do another exercise now because that was so brainiac. We got to integrate with our bodies, okay? See, I see people yawning. What you need to do now is you're going to choose 2 people, but don't say anything out loud. Just choose them in your mind. Stand in just randomly, a circle. Choose 2 people in your mind. Don't reveal who they are. And then you are going to try to keep equal distance between yourself and those other 2 people. Go. Have you ever played this game, People in TV Land? It's super fun. It's really good. It's a really great way to have an embodied experience of what it's like to be in a rhizome.
It's starting to look like a mosh pit in here.
Don't get me started.
They're also seeing degrees of freedom here too.
Right.
Like
So what are you noticing what are you learning?
When one person moves and nobody else does, I think they're moving through their people.
I'm bumping into the people I'm not paying attention to.
Okay.
Our positions are all interdependent upon each other's.
Yeah, exactly. If we're bumping into someone, it's most likely not that person.
Right. And how does that feel to be connected to people in that way?
Fun. In this case.
So it's interdependent, it's self-organizing, and it's chaotic simultaneously.
It's just
You
like
see
Earth.
that? It is. So this is a way to see what a natural system, what natural organizational systems would be like. And in a way, we're intentionally creating a counseling community, society, networking system that's chaotic and open, but still functions. Does that make sense? So that's really different from how I learned to do counseling as a professional social worker. And I had to unlearn a lot of things to be able to do this kind of peer counseling. But I think that this is actually more holistic and sound.
All right, so short and sweet. Depart, O holy ray, depart, O fair and holy light of highest God.
I love you, Jimbo. I love you, everybody else, too. Bye.
TERI.